Hello, class. I'm Kathy P., and this is my dog, Bear, because he looks like a bear. And he looks very sweet and placid, and he is, except when the doorbell rings, and then he barks and barks and barks. It's very annoying. In fact, this is kind of universal behavior for dogs. But why do they do it? Well, scientists love to ask these kinds of questions, and they love to try and think up explanations for things. So today we'll try and answer that question. Why do dogs bark? Now, granted, this is a human evolution class and not an animal evolution class. But we are part of the animal kingdom, and all the same evolutionary processes that apply to animals also apply to us. So today we are going to discuss ultimate explanations because that is what we focus on in this class. Now, if I were to ask you why the Titanic sank, you would most likely tell me that it sank because it hit an iceberg, and that is true. The immediate cause of sinking was the giant hole that the iceberg made in the ship's hull, which filled it with water. This is what we call a proximate explanation. A proximate explanation will tell us what immediately precedes a behavior. In this case, the behavior is the sinking. However, in this class, we focus on ultimate explanations, which are much more complete. Now, you will hear us discuss explanations, questions, and causations, sometimes interchangeably, but don't worry too much about that for now. For the Titanic, the ultimate explanation for why it sank was more likely that the captain was so focused on speed that he did not have all the proper controls in place to avoid icebergs. Now, in biology, ultimate explanations are so much more complete that they zoom out and look at evolutionary reasons for behavior. And the only thing that really matters in evolution is passing on genes and continuing life. So to give an ultimate explanation for why Bear barks, we would have to consider what is it about this behavior that would allow him to mate and pass on his genes? The proximate explanation is easy. He hears the doorbell, which alerts him to some possible stranger danger, and he barks. The ultimate explanation may be something like he wants to protect his family, and by so doing, they will value him more and feed him and groom him and make him even more attractive to pretty female dogs so that he can mate and pass on his genes. Now, these levels of explanations came from an evolutionary biologist named Ernest Mayr in a paper he published in 1961, Cause and Effect in Biology. Mayr was pushing back against the belief that only through design and purpose could all the features of life happen. This is also known as teleology. Mayr wanted to explain nature in, well, completely natural terms, without demanding a purpose or design. He stated that the questions asked by functional biology differed from the questions asked by evolutionary biology. And he was right. Functional biology is interested in proximate explanations and tends to ask and answer how things happen. And evolutionary biology is more interested in why they happen from an evolutionary perspective and focuses on ultimate explanations. Now, this is not to say that there's no crossover, because of course there is, but these are their main interests. Mayr's famous example of proximate and ultimate explanations concerned a cute little bird called a warbler. He noticed that it always flew south on August 25th and asked the question, why does the warbler fly south on August 25th? He offered a proximate and an ultimate explanation. The proximate explanation is it's sensitive to the length of day, temperature, and direction of the winds. And on August 25th, these environmental cues triggered an instinct to go south. The ultimate explanation is, and remember, an ultimate explanation in biology is always tied to reproductive success. The warbler would starve to death if he stayed because his food doesn't grow in cold climates. If he dies, he can't reproduce, and his genes would die out. Another example comes from your textbook, Mothers and Others by Sarah Hrdy. Her question is, why do I feel good when I hold a baby? Birdie's research tied this feel-good sensation to a chemical called prolactin. This is actually the hormone responsible for milk production in females, but it has other functions too, and it does exist in men as well as women. When we hold a baby, this is released into our systems and it makes us feel good. This is the proximate explanation. To find the ultimate explanation, we must look at how holding babies and other nurturing behaviors increase our reproductive success. When a man is ready to settle down and mate, he often looks for a woman who appears to be good mom material, someone who will take good care of his children and nurture them. And in humans, the same holds true for women. They often want a mate who will be a good father. These are not always conscious thoughts, but instinctual. Again, in this class, we focus on the ultimate. For instance, let's look at human ontogeny, or growth and development. This is called life history theory. It deals with the predictable stages we go through in life, like infancy, childhood, adolescence, young adult, adult, and old age. One of the ultimate questions we might ask is, why do human women live so long after they are finished bearing children? And this is a great question, because other primates don't. Chimpanzee mothers in the wild, and they are wonderful mothers, but they don't live long after their last child is born. Humans are quite unique in this way. An ultimate explanation for this oddity is called the grandmother hypothesis, and this is one of my favorites. It proposes that our species benefits from grandmothering because the woman helps her daughter, for one, with the children. Grandma helps the grandchildren, gives them food, and her presence can allow her genes to continue to be passed on, even after she finishes childbearing. This is a picture of my own mom, and she's an example of how the grandmother hypothesis works. So let's review. Proximate explanations come from functional biology, while ultimate explanations come from evolutionary biology. Proximate explains immediate causes, and ultimate explains evolutionary causes, and why a behavior is advantageous enough to be passed on to our offspring. These concepts come to us from evolutionary biologist Ernst Mayr, and in this class, we focus on the ultimate.